Am I the antagonist for asking my neighbor's kid to stop kicking their ball directly at my fence every day? Every day, the kid next door kicks his ball against my fence. Each time, I politely ask them to stop aiming at or hitting the fence. I have no problem with them playing and making noise, but I ask that they refrain from purposefully hitting the ball at my fence. I also remind them not to climb or enter my yard without permission. If their ball happens to go over the fence, I tell them to gently knock on the window, and I will gladly retrieve it for them. My fence is a black metal fence with gaps between the posts and arrow-shaped tips on top. Since I am a renter and lack the authority to alter the fence, these gaps make it easier for their small soccer ball to pass through. I do not want them to climb the fence and risk injury, as I have seen a similar incident occur in my neighbor's yard. A child playing catch with a football late at night attempted to climb the fence to retrieve the ball. However, he slipped and cut his leg on the arrow-shaped tips along the fence's top. My neighbor has the same type of fence as mine. I have previously experienced another incident where the same individuals were playing late at night and their ball went over my fence. Instead of notifying me through the window for assistance, they decided to jump over the fence. Upon hearing a dragging noise, I went outside to investigate, only to find them using a patio chair from my deck, which they had dragged 30 feet to aid in climbing back over the fence. In the process, they broke the chair. When I caught one of the kids in the act, he simply claimed it was already broken. His father, who was playing catch with him, played ignorant and supported his son's statement. However, the chair was actually brand new, having been in my possession for only a week. I do not wish to be inconsiderate towards my neighbors, but I have experienced property damage and witnessed a child suffer significant harm. I want to prevent such incidents from occurring again. However, despite my polite requests, they continue to repeat their behavior the following day. These new neighbors are different from the ones who caused the previous property damage and accident. The former neighbors were later evicted, and the current ones who moved in are the ones kicking their ball against my fence. Although they have a small yard, they do not have their own fence space. Additionally, they frequently have guests, which is not an issue by itself. However, the problem arises when these guests consistently park their cars right in front of the entrance/exit of my fence, making it impossible for me to leave my home. Am I the asshole? You have made clear and polite requests to your neighbors to not kick their ball directly against your fence and to not climb or enter your yard without permission. You have also offered to retrieve their ball if it goes over the fence. Furthermore, you have witnessed property damage and a child getting seriously injured as a result of climbing the fence. It is understandable that you want to prevent similar incidents from happening again. It seems like your neighbors are not respecting your requests and are repeatedly causing inconvenience and damage to your property. Despite your efforts to address the issues and communicate politely, they continue to disregard your concerns. Regarding the parking issue, it is unfortunate that both the tow truck companies and the police are unable to intervene. It may be worth exploring other avenues to address this problem, such as contacting your property management or seeking legal advice on potential actions you can take. In conclusion, you have been patient and reasonable in dealing with your neighbor's actions. It is important to continue advocating for your rights and the safety of your property and yourself. Am I the antagonist for not wanting my husband to tell his mom we're expecting? I am a 32-year-old female and my husband is 35. We are currently expecting our third child and have chosen to keep this pregnancy a secret. In May of 2023, I experienced a very traumatic miscarriage at 3 months, which caused a great deal of heartbreak after initially being filled with excitement. I already have 2 healthy children, ages 5 and 3, both of whom I had no issues with during their pregnancies. The third pregnancy started off just as smoothly, and we were overjoyed. We immediately shared the news with everyone we knew. However, when I miscarried, I was bombarded with questions and condolences when all I wanted was to avoid discussing it. My mother-in-law, and I have never had a strong relationship. While we've faced some challenges over the past few years, we have never had a major blow-up. However, she is generally cold and distant, and our geographical distance has limited our interactions, which I see as a positive. I have attempted to connect with my husband for 10 years, making numerous efforts to reach out to her in person and regularly calling her via video so she could interact with the kids. Unfortunately, I eventually gave up after several disappointing interactions. We didn't even have the opportunity to share the news of my first pregnancy with her, as my sister-in-law beat us to it. That's a whole separate story. When we shared the news of my second pregnancy, her reaction was a simple "that's nice," followed by a subject change. I was deeply hurt. When I saw her this past summer, I told her about our miscarriage, but she completely ignored it. She acted as if she hadn't even heard me, and immediately changed the topic. Now, I'm almost 11 weeks along, nearing the point at which I lost my last baby. I told my husband that I don't want to share the news with any of our family back home, as we both have our families living halfway across the world. Instead, I want to surprise everyone with a photo once the baby arrives and say, "Surprise?" This applies to both my family and his family. However, my husband is insistent on telling his mom about our pregnancy, and this has deeply hurt me. I have told him numerous times that I don't want anyone to know, especially his mom. given her lack of compassion or excitement in the past. Her reactions have consistently let me down. He claims that he will ask her not to share the news with anyone else, but I know from experience that she can't keep a secret to save her life. In the past, she divulged private health matters from 2 years ago to every family member and acquaintance she knew. I simply don't trust her with this information. With this pregnancy, I feel an overwhelming need to protect and keep it private. It's difficult for me to discuss the pregnancy or feel excited about it. Deep down, I pray for a healthy and happy baby, but the fear of another loss makes it hard to express joy. My miscarriage was tremendously traumatic, and I am still healing from it. I don't want to talk about being pregnant. Given all this, am I being unreasonable for not wanting him to tell his mom about our pregnancy? You have gone through a traumatic experience with your miscarriage, and it is completely understandable that you want to keep this pregnancy private and not discuss it with anyone, especially with your mother-in-law, who has not shown empathy or support in the past. It is important to prioritize your own emotional well-being and do what makes you feel comfortable during this sensitive time. Your husband should respect your wishes and understand that you have valid reasons for not wanting to share the news with his mom. The fact that she cannot keep a secret and has previously betrayed your trust by sharing private health matters only strengthens your argument. It is crucial for your husband to support you in this decision and prioritize your emotional needs at this time. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister she's not being a good mother? I am the youngest of 5 kids, 19 years old, and my eldest sister, 27 years old, is married with 1 son. My nephew is 8 years old, and they live in a different state, in a secluded and sketchy area. A few nights ago, all the girls in my family received individual phone calls from my eldest sister around 8 p.m. Since we don't call each other frequently, I was confused about what was happening. During the call, my eldest sister, whom we'll call Jessie, forced my nephew to confess that he had been looking up inappropriate content online. She explained that she was making him call everyone in the family and tell them what he had been doing. She quickly hung up, saying she had to call the others. I was left extremely confused about why this was being made into a family issue. Within a minute, my other sisters texted me to say they had received the same call. In addition to having my 8-year-old nephew call all the female family members and confess to watching porn, she also made him smash his phone with a hammer when she found it. My other 2 sisters and I were shocked. We can't believe she went to such extreme measures to embarrass him and instill a negative view of sex and curiosity. We've discussed this among ourselves and have tried to express our opinions to our sister. We explained that while we agree he shouldn't be watching inappropriate content at his age, he's a curious boy in public school with unlimited internet access. It's natural for kids in this generation to start becoming interested in sex at a young age, as we all remember looking at porn when we were around 8 or as soon as we had internet access. Jessie cannot understand this and finds it disgusting. She believes that if it's not something you can discuss openly with your family, you shouldn't be doing it. I'd like to mention some background about Jessie. She became pregnant with my nephew when she was 17, and prior to that, she was in and out of rehab and jail. She was constantly being brought back home from some older man's house. Jessie claims she didn't even know how to use a tampon until she was 14, and doesn't understand why my nephew would be so interested in sex at such a young age. My second eldest sister, Kelly, who is also married and lives out of state with 2 babies and 1 on the way, has been in contact with Jessie regarding this issue. She expressed her concern and explained how we all feel that this was an inappropriate way to handle the situation. We believe it won't promote a healthy relationship with sex in the future, or build trust between him and his parents. Jessie is not willing to listen to anyone and believes she handled the situation appropriately. She thinks that although Kelly was respectful, it's not her place or any of ours to comment on her parenting. However, we believe that she involved us, so it became our place to speak up. She made him smash his phone with a hammer, call all his female family members, and threatened to take away his sport as punishment for watching inappropriate content. Are my sisters and I in the wrong here, or is my eldest sister behaving irrationally? It is clear that your eldest sister, Jessie, has handled this situation poorly and inappropriately. Making an 8-year-old call each female family member to explain what he was doing and then forcing him to smash his phone with a hammer is extreme and damaging behavior. It is not healthy to embarrass and shame a child for being curious about sex at his age. You and your other sisters are correct in expressing your concern about Jessie's actions and pointing out that her methods are not going to promote a healthy relationship with sex or build trust between him and his parents. It is natural for children at this age to start becoming curious about these topics, especially with unlimited internet access and exposure in public schools. Your sister's own history and past struggles should make her more understanding and empathetic towards her son's behavior. It is important to educate and guide him rather than embarrass and punish him. Your second eldest sister, Kelly, is also justified in sharing her concerns and discussing this matter with Jessie. As family members, you have a right to express your opinions and try to advocate for what you believe is a healthier approach to parenting. In conclusion, Jessie's extreme reactions and refusal to listen to reason indicate that she is not handling this situation appropriately. You and your sisters are not the assholes for expressing your concerns and trying to offer an alternate perspective on this issue. Am I the antagonist for wanting to make Halloween plans for myself when my boyfriend will have to work? Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, and I haven't been able to do anything for the past few years due to work. However, I recently quit my job and was really excited about celebrating Halloween this year. I wanted to go to a haunted house, dress up, and go out with friends during Halloween weekend or on Halloween night. Unfortunately, my boyfriend thinks I'm being selfish and rude for wanting to make plans with friends while he has to work. He works late shifts, so there's a possibility that he could join me after midnight, but it wouldn't be for long. He also believes it's unfair for me to start having fun and drinking before he gets off work, so doing that is out of the question. On top of all this, he recently developed ankle pain, not caused by an injury, and now he's saying that even if he gets Halloween night off, he doesn't want to go out. I really wanted to do something, but he won't allow me to go out without him and accuses me of talking to other guys. If I decide to go anyway, I'll most likely have to sleep on the couch and deal with arguments all night. Last time I mentioned going out for Halloween, he criticized the idea of wearing a slutty costume, even though I don't even have a costume in mind. I just wanted to play with makeup and wear something casual to a bar. I also tried making plans with my best friend last Saturday, when my boyfriend was scheduled to work, to go to a haunted house. However, he got upset again, claiming it was unfair for me to do things without him while he was at work. In the end, I didn't go. I argued that it wasn't fair for him to expect me to never do anything just because he has work. It's not just Halloween. I've had to decline invitations to concerts, nights out, and even got scolded for going to a soccer game or having drinks with friends while he was working. Whenever he has to work, he automatically assumes I'll say no to any plans I'm invited to. At the moment, we don't know if he'll have to work on Halloween night, but even if he doesn't, he still doesn't want to go out or do anything due to his ankle pain. If he can't go or doesn't want to, I would like to quickly make plans with a friend to have some fun with makeup and enjoy myself. Is it wrong for me to want to do something while he's working? Should I be expected to stay home and do nothing if he doesn't want to go out because of his ankle pain? Am I the asshole in this situation? It is not wrong of you to want to go out and do something while your boyfriend is at work or if he doesn't want to go out due to his ankle pain. Your boyfriend's expectations and demands for you to constantly accommodate his work schedule are unfair and controlling. It is important for both partners in a relationship to have their own individual interests and activities. You have the right to enjoy Halloween and make plans with your friends without feeling guilty or being subjected to arguments. Your boyfriend's behavior, such as accusing you of talking to other guys and insulting your desired costume, is also unacceptable. It may be worth having a conversation with him about setting boundaries, independence, and respecting each other's individual choices. Am I the antagonist sister-in-law turned into Bridezilla and hates me and my mom? I, 24-year-old female, and my mom met my brother's girlfriend many years ago. We all got along well. She even joined us on family holidays and fit in seamlessly. I considered her like a sister. When my 30-year-old brother proposed, I was asked to be a bridesmaid, and I gladly accepted. At the time, I was 21 and living with a friend, so money was tight. My mom offered to cover any expenses for me, but they had initially agreed to pay for the bridesmaid dresses. However, as the wedding planning progressed, things changed without our knowledge. My sister-in-law sent pictures and costs of the dresses and later informed me about an expensive hen-do bachelorette party that I couldn't afford. I shared the screenshots with my mom since she was covering my hair expenses, but she never mentioned paying for the hen-do, which was understandable. My mom spoke to sister-in-law about the dress arrangement, and sister-in-law denied ever agreeing to pay for them, despite the evidence my mom had. Eventually, I decided to step down as a bridesmaid because it was not financially feasible for me. Interestingly, all the other bridesmaids dropped out as well, leaving only sister-in-law's sister. Since then, sister-in-law's behavior towards us has changed. She became blunt and awkward. Whenever they would visit us, she always had something to complain about. My mom has been struggling with menopause for the past few years, so it has been challenging for her. At the beginning of this year, my brother, sister-in-law, and their 2-year-old daughter came to visit. My mom cooked a meal for them, even bought sister-in-law's favorite wine and treats. However, sister-in-law still found something to complain about. The next day before they left, she questioned why she wasn't included in a picture frame on the wall. Note that I bought the frame, and I wasn't even in the photo. Nevertheless, she took offense at not being in it. This caused a major argument. My mom asked her what the issue was, and tensions escalated. I pointed out that I wasn't in the frame either, but sister-in-law argued that she's the mother of my niece. I retorted that she's my mom. Eventually, they left, leaving my mom devastated. She got angry and called sister-in-law a bitch, which I scolded her for. Nonetheless, my mom's frustration had been building up for years due to sister-in-law's behavior, making us feel uncomfortable in our own home and around her. After some time without contact, my mom took the initiative to mend things, and she has seen them multiple times since. However, sister-in-law remains rude and refuses to speak or acknowledge my mom. Personally, I have chosen to cut contact. I still send birthday and Christmas cards and gifts to my niece, but I rely on my mom for updates. It hurts because I miss being an aunt, but I can't be around sister-in-law anymore. She has caused too much damage. Based on the information provided, it seems like you and your mother have made efforts to mend the relationship with your sister-in-law, but she continues to be rude and disrespectful towards both of you. It is understandable that you have chosen to cut contact with her due to the emotional damage she has caused. It is clear that sister-in-law had initially agreed to pay for the bridesmaids' dresses, but later reneged on the agreement. This put you in a difficult financial situation, and it was reasonable for you to step down from being a bridesmaid. The issues escalated over time, with sister-in-law consistently showing dissatisfaction and complaining about various things, which has made you and your mother uncomfortable in your own home. Your mother's frustration and outburst can be seen as a result of pent-up emotions from years of enduring sister-in-law's behavior. While it may not have been the best way to handle the situation, it is understandable given the circumstances. Ultimately, you have made the decision to cut contact for the sake of your own well-being. It is important to prioritize your mental health and protect yourself from further harm. Continuing to send your niece cards and presents shows that you still care about her and want to maintain a connection. AmITheA, if I filed to terminate my ex's parental rights? For context, I am a 24-year-old female and my fiancé is a 24-year-old male. I have 2 children, Raya, 4-year-old female, and Sam, 1-year-old male. My ex, who I will refer to as Calvin, is in his 30s. When I was in the military, I was young and foolish and fell in love with Calvin. We continued our relationship after I left the military. He was stationed in Texas, so I moved there to be with him because I was pregnant with his child, Raya. Things were okay until I got extremely sick, which almost resulted in losing my baby. Calvin would stay out late, buy expensive things we couldn't afford, and didn't care about my illness. At 7 months pregnant, you couldn't even tell I was pregnant. My parents flew me back to California where they took care of me. Calvin visited me for the birth of our child, but he was on his phone the whole time and provided no comfort. That was just a summary of how we met and what happened during my first pregnancy. Now onto the current problem. I have made efforts to take my daughter, Raya, to see his family twice, despite the challenges of traveling with a young child. I even stayed there for a couple of months each time to align his leave with my time off work. However, he never made the effort to align his leave with mine, so he never got to see her. He doesn't ask about her well-being, provide financial support, and he hasn't seen her since she was born. She is now 4. He and his family would use his military service as an excuse, but he would often use his leave to visit his family instead of seeing our child. His mother keeps pressuring me to let her see my daughter, but my attorney has informed me that I'm not obligated to allow visitation due to his abandonment. My fiancé wants to adopt Raya as he has been her financial and emotional support, and she refers to him as dad. He has been in her life since she was 18 months old, so he is all she knows. However, Calvin refuses to sign his rights away due to his pride and likes to bring up my past mistakes from when I was 19 as leverage against me. Family members tell me that he's still the father and that I would be heartless if I pursued terminating his rights. So Reddit, would I be the asshole if I petitioned to terminate his rights? It seems like Calvin has consistently failed to fulfill his responsibilities as a father and has shown little interest in being a part of his child's life. You have made multiple efforts to facilitate a relationship between him and your daughter, but he has consistently failed to make the necessary effort. Your fiancé has stepped up and become a father figure for your daughter, providing financial and emotional support. Raya sees him as her dad, and removing Calvin's rights would be in the best interest of the child. Ultimately, it is up to you and your fiancé to decide what is best for your family, and seeking to terminate Calvin's rights may be a necessary step to create stability and ensure your daughter's well-being. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.